Good evening, everybody. My name is Dawn Wakeling. I'm Executive Director of Communities, Adults and Health at the London Borough of Barnet. Welcome to our 7th Barnet Question Time event, where you have the chance to put your questions to members of our Cabinet. We'll be online until 8:30 p.m. and we will take our last question about 5 minutes before the end of the session. This event is being recorded and will be made public, so no confidential or personal information will be handled here. Firstly, a couple of points about using Teams. Unless you are asking a question, please can you click on mute, which looks like a microphone icon in the top right corner of your screen. And if you don't want to be seen on the recording, you can switch off your camera by clicking on the camera icon, which is next to the microphone icon. You will be sharing written information in the chat bar. You'll also be able to share comments and questions in the chat bar. To access it, just click on the speech bubble icon in the top middle of your screen. We have a lot of people on the call, so please only ask one short question so we can get through as many questions from you all as possible. If you would like to ask a question, please use the raise hand option at the top of your screen. That literally looks like a hand. People raising their hands to ask a question will be prioritised. However, we will also try to get through some questions asked in the chat. Please remember not to ask any personal or capable questions. Tristan, who is our moderator, will read out some of our chat questions during the session at the most opportune time. We will be prioritising written questions that have received the most thumbs up, the most likes. So please do like a question if you would like to hear it asked. If we don't get to your question tonight, please email us at barnetquestiontime@barnet.gov.uk and the relevant Cabinet member will respond to you directly. We'll post the information about the email address in the chat. This is very much a session to ask questions about the Council and Barnet, the Borough. Please remember not to ask any personal or casework questions. These can, however, be followed up with us by emailing us at barnetquestiontime@barnet.gov.uk. Cabinet members will not discuss individual complaints or casework in this session. If you have a complaint about a councillor or about a service, we will post information in the chat about how to make a complaint. Tonight is not the right place for it. And finally, in the unlikely event that anyone is abusive, offensive or disruptive, we do reserve the right to either mute them or remove them from the meeting. So now I've set out the ground rules, I would like to hand over to the leader of the council, Councillor Barry Rawlings.
Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. Now, since we were elected 3.5 years ago, we have put in place our business plan, called our Plan for Barnet, with a vision of how we care for people, places and planet. But we know we can only achieve this by opening up and listening to people's views on how we run our services and invest in our places, giving you all a say in our decisions. This is why we hold regular question time. I'd remind people that we also have introduced other ways for residents and businesses to engage with us. For example, we now have public question time at full council meetings. We allow deputations on issues at both council and cabinet, and we have our briefings for business regularly. We can post details about this in our chat. But we are keeping the session open to questions on all council-related issues and themes. But to reiterate, we cannot deal with casework like individual questions in this forum. So we'll start by introducing ourselves, and we'll start from Alan. We'll work our way across the table so you know whose responsibility is what.
Oh, good evening. I'm Councillor Alan Schneiderman. I'm a Cricklewood councillor and I'm also the Cabinet member for Environment and Climate Change, which covers a range of street scene issues and sustainability.
Hello and welcome. I am Councillor Sarah Begg. I'm the Cabinet member for Equalities, Reducing Poverty, Voluntary and the Community Sector, and I'm a councillor in Underhill Ward.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Councillor Pauline Coakley-Webb. I'm the Cabinet member for Family Friendly Barnet, which is everything basically to do with children and education. And I'm a councillor for Free and Barnet Ward.
I'm Councillor Ross Houston. I represent West Finchley Ward and I'm the Cabinet Member for Homes and Regeneration.
Hello everyone, I'm Councillor Simon Radford. I'm the Cabinet Member for Financial Sustainability, which sort of does exactly what it says on the tin, and I'm the Councillor for East Barnet Ward.
Hi, good evening everyone. I'm Sarah Conway. I'm a councillor from Burnt Oak and I cover community safety.
And I'm Councillor Alison Moore. I represent East Finchley and my areas are adult social care and health, which includes public health and the Health and Wellbeing Board.
Thank you. So now we'll go to our first question, which is from Nigel. Nigel, can I invite you to ask your question?
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, first of all, before I ask my question, I'd like to congratulate the council on wasting £1 million on a ridiculous bus lane scheme, which is scrapped to the detriment of those people living in the
Didn't
borough.
cost us a penny, but carry on, Nigel. Didn't
Well,
cost us a penny.
Well, I beg to differ. But anyway, I've got two very quick questions, if I may, and they're both relevant to everybody. The first question is, when will Barnet Council start cleaning gullies and gutters in the borough? Because drains are getting completely clogged up with leaves and debris. That's the first question, and nothing's been done about it at all, and that creates extra strain on the drainage and drains, etc., and causes problems. And the second question, very quickly, I've raised this before, but nothing been done by the council, in as much as that street lighting is intermittently coming on and coming off when it shouldn't do, so to the detriment of the health and safety of pedestrians and motorists.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Hi, Nigel. Good evening. In relation to your question, so the council does clean gullies. There is a regular gully programme, and substantial amount of money each year is invested alongside our programme of resurfacing roads and pavements. Part of the investing in highways programme also includes gullies. So there is a regular programme of that, and the next stage of that's being agreed tomorrow. Like with all these things, if there is a particular problem in a particular area, do drop us a line and let us know. But gullies are definitely cleaned, and we've even got sensors in some gullies so that we can see if they're full up and blocked, etc. So that's being done. And your other question was, I forgot it was now. Street lighting. Again, I mean, obviously that shouldn't be happening. If you let us know the location of the lights that are behaving like that, we'll get someone to come out straight away and have a look at them. Because yeah, I totally agree. Street lighting is really important, and if there's a fault there, we'll get the contractor to come out and fix it straight away.
Well, then how do I contact you to send you an email about these problems, please?
We'll put it in the chat.
Question time
Yeah, sure.
at barnet.gov.uk. It'll be in the chat.
It'll be in the
Thank
chat.
you.
Okay,
We'll
Nigel.
we'll go to Green Neighbourhood next. That's what you're showing on my screen. I suspect it isn't your name, but Green Neighbourhood, you're number one with the hand up. I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. I read your consultation document, which is about 20-mile-per-hour zones, and did respond to it. But my concern and my question is, although you said that schools were a priority for 20-mile-per-hour zones immediately around them, which is important for the safety and health of the children, I couldn't see that you were planning to have any proactive programme to try and make it. To my mind, it should be the default. If you have a school, and as long as it's feasible, the default should be 20 miles per hour zone around the school. Is there any hope that you're planning to do this?
Thank you. Hi, nice to see you again.
Hi.
Yeah, I mean the new 20. We just agreed our new 20-mile-an-hour policy because we do think that this is an important step in increasing road safety. And policy, as you say, does reference schools. There's two parts to it. One part is the neighbourhood-led approach, because we get a lot of requests from residents who are concerned about their particular area. So this policy allows those groups to come forward and request a zone. But there is another part of the policy where the council is able to put in 20-mile-an-hour zones and limits as well. So they're the two mechanisms. So we're not doing 20-mile-an-hour by default, but we are very much concentrating on those areas where the council has identified a problem and where residents themselves have identified a problem. So if there is a particular school, do let us know. Do let us know about that and speak to your neighbours. And
if I could quickly say, it's not a, sorry, my name is Ingrid. It's not a problem about a particular school, but the council has recognised that it's important for the health and of children and safety of children outside schools and for parents collecting. Why not just have, as you can afford it, gradually roll out a programme which will gradually cover schools?
Ingrid, a lot of the 20-mile-an-hour zones that are in currently are in roads that are around schools. So we do expect that a lot of them that will increase as time goes on. But we're doing other things around schools as well, such as school streets, which are specifically aimed at making children safer at drop-off and pick-up time, and of course the work that you're doing to make it greener and reduce their pollution around schools.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I'll go to Nikki Austin.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. I wanted to ask a question. We recently established a residents association in East Finchley, representing the EFC ward. And while our initial purpose was to create a more effective channel for discussing local developments under the Places for Barnet joint venture, our growing membership means we're now focused on wider community issues too. Councillor Rawlings, your message in the Barnet Corporate Plan notes that the council cannot achieve its vision alone, and that meaningful progress depends on residents and community groups getting involved and working with you. In that spirit, could you clarify the appropriate channels through which our association should be engaging with our council, and how Barnet Council intends to engage with us in return? And overall, how can we best set about in becoming the constructive and collaborative partner you seek, ensuring that we are well informed, prepared and able to work with you most effectively and efficiently?
You want me to do that? Okay. And I saw I was sent your prospectus for the area and so on. We are discussing amongst ourselves, but there will be a meeting with you to talk through some of these issues. I think the planning is once we know exactly what the position is. But
I'm not referring. Yes, I'm not referring to the
whole area. Yeah, you're doing the whole area.
I'm trying to find out how best, as we move forward, what the right channels, platforms, communications, areas we should be reaching out to you, and what we can expect from you in return as we kind of establish the membership more broadly.
Yeah, hi Nikki. I think Councillor Alison Moore has emailed you, and I think myself and Alison and also Anne Clark are quite keen to meet you. Hopefully, possibly in early January now, because I think people are probably getting their diaries even more filled up than normal. But that would be, I think, a good first step. And I think but on a regular basis, there is a Barnet Federation of Tenants Associations and a wider network, including Green Spaces and various other borough-wide organisations in which people can engage. But primarily, obviously, the ward councillors, the 3 ward councillors are the front line in terms of liaising with the council. In any ward, that's the case. And I'm sure all 3 would be more than happy to meet you. But I know Alison and myself and Anne we're proposing to kind of have a meeting with you, and hopefully we can get something agreed sooner rather than later. And I apologise for the time it's taken for us all to coordinate over that.
I just wanted to say thank you very much, because I received your email at 6:37 this evening, And my question would have been worded quite differently, you know, having had not received that email. But we're just really keen to understand, you know, how we connect with all of these various plans that are out there. And maybe when we get together and we can discuss this, you can help us to kind of organise our ability to receive and both share with you, you know, our communications as we move forward. So thank you. We look forward to that meeting very much in the new year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If I may, I'm going to ask participants in the meeting to keep any follow-ups to the absolute minimum and post them in the chat, because we have 13 more people at the moment who want to speak, and we're really keen to give opportunity to as many different people as possible to ask their question or give their feedback. I will promise you we will follow up on everything that has been raised tonight. Can I go to Richard Hindley, please?
Yes, this question is also about community. So it's just to ask, now that the area committees no longer meet, what is the new process for applying for NSIL funds?
There's still an application. It's the same way, and with councillor support. It then goes to a cross-party, so we involve all the parties to make recommendations. Then those recommendations will come to me, you know, for delegated authority. So from your point of view, the same application route is there. It's just rather than area committees, we're trying to streamline things so we can make decisions quicker rather than wait 3 months or 6 months for a decision. So it's the same as normal, and you'll get the decision quicker.
And again,
Okay, thanks very much. That's helpful.
Thank you. May I go to Yasmin Hazardou, please?
My question is in relation to education. Can the council confirm that it's fully aware that Ashmole Academy's proposed admissions policy for September 2027 includes adding Osage Primary School as a feeder school? And also, can the council explain how adding Osage Primary School as a feeder school complies with the school admissions code requirement that admissions arrangements must be fair, reasonable, clear and objective, given that this change will significantly disadvantage children who live closer to Ashmole Academy?
Hi, thanks for the question. I think the difference is that when you've got academies, they have their own admission criteria. If they are part of our maintained sector, then the schools set the criteria, but we have more say over how they handle things. So, but when it's an academy, we don't really have a say on how they set their admission criteria. So if they're now bringing in more primary schools into their family of schools, it will be the academy that will set the admission criteria. It won't be the council that will have any say over that matter, I'm afraid.
Thank you. I will go on to Gina T, please.
Yeah, sorry, just trying to undo everything. Good evening, and thanks for taking my question. I recognise that delegation to officers is a normal part of local government, but in Barnet we're increasingly seeing major decisions taken under delegated authority without councillors or residents being properly aware or involved. A recent example is the Maze Lane Traveller site, where officers cleared ditches and destroyed what may have been a protected habitat, weakening the council's own planning case. Similar issues have happened with the Underhill South CPZ, now the subject of an ICO investigation, in road safety schemes where residents' advice was initially dismissed only for officers to later reverse some of their own decisions based on what was originally said by residents. In national housing failures and in the tragic deaths of 3 care leavers, where again councillors said they only learned of concerns after the fact. So my question is, what will the council do to strengthen transparency and oversight of delegated decisions so that councillors, officers and residents are properly aligned? And specifically, will Barnet review its delegation framework and publish a clear public log of key officer decisions so everyone can see who decided what and why? Because at the moment, many residents feel decisions are being made to communities rather than with them, and improving transparency would go a long way to rebuilding trust.
Can I take the children's bit first? Hi Gina, can you hear me okay? Sorry, you're on mute so I can lip read you.
Yes, yes.
I don't know if you've seen all the different papers that we put out on this, but the normal procedure for for what happened over years is that when there was anything to do with children in care or care leavers, like the untimely things that happened, the normal procedure which was carried out of previous administrations was that Ofsted would be informed, the leader would be informed, the lead member would be informed, which is exactly what happened in these cases. And then it was reported to Corporate Parenting Panel, which is a panel, it's not a committee, because often there's confidential information that's discussed there. And then the 3 incidents were also flagged up at the Children's Scrutiny. What we've done since then is made sure that we've broadened the information that goes out to councillors. So it will now, the opposition councillors will be briefed when any incidents happen, but at the same time, when we brief on incidents, we will still have to maintain confidentiality, both for the benefit of the people that things have happened to and for their families. So we've always done what was required and we've always followed those rules, but now we're actually broadening that to make sure that all councillors have far more information quicker, but still maintaining, wherever necessary, the confidentiality around cases.
Thank you. Councillor Rawlings.
Well, there are 2 or 3 questions. One is on planning, and that the scheme of delegation is there in the policy and it's written out of what is delegated to officers, and what has to go to a committee meeting where the councillors make the decision. So that is already out there. And it is we have to follow national guidelines on how things are delegated in planning. Generally, if there's a delegated decision, there's 2 or 3. There's ones that can be made by officers and ones that are made by councillors, and those are published under decision. So you can always see who makes the decision and when. I'm quite willing if to look at their whole delegations again if you think it's an issue. But the one you started with, I got a bit confused about. I know there was an application for a travellers, a caravan, a travellers camp that went to councillors and councillors rejected it, refused it. Then it went to appeal. So that is not within our powers to do anything. You know, if it goes, it's allowed to go to appeals, and the appeals have permitted it, I believe, or is that the latest, wasn't it?
Yes, it was allowed. Yeah, the
but
problem
at appeal,
is
not by Barnet, but at appeal. Yeah.
Yes, but the problem is there was a pond there that housed newts, or that was what the evidence suggested, and because there was clearance of the ditches, it cleared the entire pond and left it unable to support great crested newt. So in a sense, because there isn't any joined up thinking, there isn't any you know, I think if somebody had an overview, then things like that wouldn't have happened. And I feel like if you're delegating so much to officers, that as councillors you're almost losing touch with what's happening. That's, I think, what lots of people feel, not just myself.
Mary,
and I know you do a difficult job, but I just feel like there needs to be more oversight, more overview of what the council officers themselves are making decisions on.
Gino, can I just come in here? So when you were talking about the CPZ in Underhill, and I know that you made lots of representations there, although it was a delegated decision authority, you did have the opportunity more than once to speak to the chief officers. So you know you spoke to and you met with the chief highways officers, Craig and Ian. So you still had that opportunity, even though they finally made the final decision. But they did take into account a lot of information before they reached that decision. But just speaking about the CPZ, you know that you still have another 6 months to make those representations. In terms of the travellers site, so that went to public hearing, and you led for the residents, the public hearing there, which a fantastic job you did with the residents there. And the decision, unfortunately, was again that they didn't so there are always processes like delegation and committee, and you do have more than one chance to make those representations. And we hope that's good and you do take advantage of those. Thank you.
You want to come
Thank you. I think the problem with speaking to the officers was that they pretty much said, although the local residents have voted against it, said they don't have problems because of the evidence that they had. They decided that they know better, and that was a quote from them. And I feel like that's not fair on democracy or transparency, really.
If I may, Gina, I think Barry.
Yeah, the only thing on democracy is residents were consulted. They weren't asked to vote. It's not a referendum. They were consulted. And the idea of a consultation is those opinions are taken into account. It's not a referendum, because usually that's the turnout probably too low to decide things normally. But the difference with, I think you say it's a CPZ, so it's an experimental thing that can also be taken out if it's seen to not be working. So although it's delegated, the final decision is after the experimental traffic order, isn't it? Yeah.
So after 6 months, the decision will be made on it, and that could either be to take it out, keep it, or make any amendments to it, including changes to timings, if that's what's decided.
So you're not at the end of the stage yet anyway, because it's experimental.
Thank you, everybody. I think we should now move on to our next question, which is from Anuta Zak. Anuta. Anuta, would you like to come in?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? So, two quick questions. In planning, you have statutory consultees. Is there a reason you don't allow those to be published on the planning portal to allow residents to assess what the statutory consultees have said about an application?
Thank you. Councillor Houston?
Anita, I'll probably get back to you on that one, because my understanding is those consultation responses are published in the reports.
In your reports, but not to the general public to assess while giving their opinions. So if you've got an application and you have specialists like the fire brigade, like the Environment Agency, who had an opinion on the application, surely it's beneficial for all the residents to know what these people have thought about the application before they actually assess and make their own minds up.
Well, I mean, I'm not on the planning committee, but when I've read planning reports, they often do have comments publicly available from statutory consultees. If there are reports that are not included in the public documents, I'm quite happy to get back to you on that in terms of what of course, planning is governed by national regulation and statute as well, and there might be some aspects of statutory consultation which the statutory consultee does not want to make public, and that might be covered by the planning regulation that's in place nationally. As a general principle, I think we should publish as many comments as we are allowed to. So I will get back. I will consult with the planners on that and get back to you on that, because I think as I say, we want to, if we can, we want to publish things. I wasn't aware that there were things that weren't published when it came to planning committee.
All of the consultees, apart from one, didn't get published for Edgware. I asked repeatedly.
We will get back to you.
Get them on FOIs, but they wouldn't publish them on the portal.
No, but there may be some difference between outline and detailed as well.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And also what's on the actual papers that go to committee, which are public, and what might be on the portal might be two different
things. It will be published in public before a final decision is made. But I don't think it has to be there when it's only outline.
We will.
But we'll double check that.
And Councillor Houston will follow up, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. My turn to Sasa Rodoy, please.
Hello, Sasa.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure you're all dreading me speaking. Before the rollout of the LED streetlights in late December 2019, there was no consultation with residents, and your EIA summary in 2018 stated impact to be fully assessed. It's possible that there could be inequalities impact on those who may be impacted by lighting with high colour temperatures. The consequence of white light. There are some reports, blah, blah. I can't actually read it because, as you know, I've got bad eyesight. It was identified in the initial equality impact assessment that there is a risk that light sensitive individuals can be adversely affected by 4,000K LEDs. And it was stated that a full assessment was needed. Why, therefore, was this full assessment not carried out by the council, and why were 4,000K LED streetlights installed when it had not been confirmed that this would not adversely affect light-sensitive individuals? And why was there no consultation with residents?
I think just on that one, I'll answer it quickly. Is you gave the clue away. Yeah, in 2018. That's when, and I think it was after the joint thing with Enfield about doing the street lights. Now, why something wasn't done 7 years ago, 4 years before we were elected, I don't know if I can try and search out the answer for you.
Oh, well, that's not really, can I continue? That's not really good enough. So it cost me, as you know, over £50,000 to fight you guys to get the lights around my house replaced with 2200 Kelvin. Now, we settled out of court, and I'm not going to go into that because I appreciate we're not supposed to talk about cases. My question now is, if you get complaints from residents, will you, who are complaining about these 4,000K around their house, whatever, will you now install 2200K as you did with me without making them go to court?
All I can say is that because it's in our ward, we've now got neighbours complaining that the lighting isn't strong enough. So we've got we've got two sides disagreeing with each other, and I think it needs the expertise from our lighting engineers, Paul, to come back to you on that. I don't know if there's anything else.
Your lighting engineers, you've all refused to talk with me since I first complained in 2020, and it's not a case that there's the darkness.
If I may intervene.
Can I finish? The sodium lights spread the light, it was diffused. These lights go down in cones, and I know I'm going to get nowhere with this with you, but also one last point I'd like to make. Do you really think it's fair that you do not reimburse with me for some of my legal costs?
As we mentioned at the beginning, so I noted your question was a general point at the beginning, Ms. Rodo, but we did say very clearly that this is not a session to deal with individual.
That's fine, I've finished. I've said what I had to say, and I've made my point.
Council colleagues will follow up with you individually. I'd like to move to our next questioner, please, Mr. Gary Weinstein.
Hello, thank you very much. And first, I'd like to thank councillors for giving up their time tonight. Fly tipping is a real blight across Barnet. I know when I'm out and volunteers on wheels in our vans, the amount of fly tipping we see is horrendous. I'd like to know how much is spent on clearing up illegally dumped rubbish, as well as on identifying and prosecuting offenders. I'd also like to know how much revenue is received from legitimate contractors taking their rubbish to Barnet refuge centres. Thus, would it be more cost effective to significantly lower or remove refuge centre charges to encourage their use by contractors, while increasing the penalties significantly for dumping?
Hi, Gary. Good evening. Hi. I don't have all those figures. I mean, the council spends over £500,000 a year on collecting fly tipping, which is why we've just actually launched a new programme targeted on the particular areas of the borough where there are particular problems, and it's concentrating around education and messaging and informing people how they should be disposing of waste. And also, I was out with them today. We've got teams of people actually knocking on doors to actually tell people how to dispose of waste. And ask them if they know anything about that fridge that was left outside their front door or their front drive. So there's lots of things like that that we are doing. I mean, you can take your stuff to Summers Lane, that's free of charge. We've got a quarterly programme of skips all round the borough, that's free of charge. You can have electrical waste, large items collected from your property free of charge. If you go onto the website, you can book a slot. So we do offer lots of opportunities that are free, and then there is a bulky waste service where there is a charge for, but there are lots of opportunities where people can dispose of their waste free of charge.
Right. That wasn't the question though, Alan. I'm talking about the people that are legally dumping. I don't mean the person that puts their fridge out at the front. I mean, when you're walking down the street and you see all sorts of items have literally just been dumped on the footpaths or down little side roads, etc., or dumped into grass verges. It's the illegal dumpers.
Thank you, Gary.
Yeah,
I think
we are doing a lot more actions. Oh, sorry.
Good evening, Gary. So Councillor Schneiderman and I work together on this stuff, on the environmental bit and the enforcement bit, because the team sits under safety for the enforcement. And this has been an ongoing conversation for the past couple of years. I saw some comment in the chat about councillors don't care. We really do care about this stuff. We live in this borough, we see it all the time, and we listen to residents all the time on these issues. And so what we've tried to do with this new campaign is really think through a different way of trying stuff out, and also co-producing with residents. The advertising that's out there, like the sort of questions you're raising. So if you're able to send some of those in, that would be really helpful, because it is very much a pilot programme that we are monitoring how it works to see how effective it is before we roll it out elsewhere. So everything you've asked is really helpful. I was having a conversation just last night with someone that is there a scheme that someone shows you a licence when they come and collect your rubbish and you're paying, or do they just go and dump it? All of this stuff helps really inform what we're doing. Just on the point about fines, our fines are going up a bit, but there's a very fine balance, because I've asked this question quite regularly every now and then over the past few years, between what your actual compliance is in terms of payment fines. And for this borough, it's a lot higher than other boroughs. And so it's this balance between, we can set, £5 million, but no one's going to pay it. So it's kind of, how do we do a system that really works? And as Councillor Schneiderman said, the whole education bit is really important too. So we're sort of doing it in the round, and we're doing it with residents. So it'd be great to hear from you, and we'll reply to your questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Will do.
Thank you. I'd like to go to Chris next. Hi, Chris.
Oh. Can't hear.
We can't quite hear you.
Looks like we're doing a Christmas lunch.
I'm afraid you're still muted, Chris, I'm afraid.
Is it the volume on your computer? Nice Christmas decorations, by the way.
To try speaking now.
Still muted. Maybe if he puts his question in the chat.
You're still muted, Chris. What I'll do is I'll go to the next question and I'll come back to you if I may. Maybe you'll have sorted your sound out. If not, post your question in the chat. I'll come back, promise I'll come back to you next. May I go to Rahat next, please?
Hi, hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi. I need to ask about mental health services for children. So what kind of services and the funding available for the kids? And at this point, mental health services for children are at crisis, and the waiting list for camps is 26 weeks. And parents are left in the limbo when their children are in need of specialized help. There need to be more funding, I think, into children's mental health services, especially for SEND neurodivergent children. So just asking what council's doing at the moment for this.
Okay.
Thank you. Councillor Coakley-Webb, would you like to come in on
Yeah,
that?
I can probably comment out, and then Alison will probably be able to add more to it. I think we know that there's been problems with mental health services for years, many years. But we also have our big service, and we also have our online service for young people. So from our point of view, we make sure that of all the children that we know, we try and make sure they get all the help they need as quickly as possible. I'm not saying that it's always as quick as I would like it, but we certainly make sure that everyone that we know about, we make sure that we try and get them the help that they deserve as quickly and as speedily as possible, which obviously takes them up to the age of 18, when there has to be a transition then to take them over to adult services, and we're making sure that we look at the transition period so that there's no gaps in between. I don't know if Councillor Moore would like to add on the health side as to what she can add to that.
A limited amount. I mean, obviously we have the new North London NHS Foundation Mental Health Trust that was formed 2 years ago, so that will produce some changes in the way we handle an NHS mental health handled locally, and of course nationally there is a much greater focus on mental health, because I think we'd all recognise that it is a significant challenge, particularly following the pandemic. But I don't have anything more specific, and if there's a particular case, I would urge you to email into us so that we can support and unpick that, but trying to work as well as we can with the council in conjunction with the NHS. But it is largely an NHS responsibility, and so it's about making sure that our communication is as strong as it can be there.
Thank you. And if I just may add, what we will also do is post the details of Barnet Health Watch in the chat, because that is, mental health services are predominantly the responsibility of the NHS, and Health Watch has been set up to be a voice for people and to raise issues about the NHS with local NHS providers and commissioners. Thank you for your question. Now we're going to go back to Chris, because I promised. Chris, hopefully your sound will now work.
Can you hear me or not?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, 1 second. Let me. The questions disappeared now. Right. So we represent the Golders Green Estate community, which is next door to the new Brent Cross Town development. And we've been campaigning for the area to be recognised and supported, because we feel that there's been years of neglect here. We're experiencing decrepit pavements, which are dangerous for people to use, especially wheelchair users, old people having to walk in the middle of the streets. We also have epidemic levels of fly tipping here. We also have lots of missing trees on the estate, tree holes, which are also developing into massive sort of mud pits. So our question is, can you tell us what amount of sill tax and Section 106 levy the Brent Cross Town development has paid Barnet Council, and what percentage of that has been allocated for the improvement of our neighbourhood, as we are the ones most directly impacted by this?
Thank you for your question. I think there are a number of councillors.
Yes, different people can answer bits of that. The Brent Cross Town development was agreed many years ago before seal, so they don't pay any seal.
Okay.
I'm afraid, but there is a lot of Section 106, some of which is going to the rebuilding schools, wasn't it? It was Claremont School and eventually Whitefield and some, I think his name, wasn't it? Clarion School. So some of it is on schools, some of it's on amenities, parks and so on through the Section 106. It's a legal document that's public, so it's probably easier if there's a way we can send you the actual details breakdown of what the Section 106 was. I don't know off the top of my head because it was, it was many years ago. But unfortunately, because it was pre-seal, it doesn't have to pay any community infrastructure levy. Because when there is 15% meant to be spent locally, but they got in before the law changed.
Okay, so because you know our sort of concern is that we've identified through the channels that we communicate that there is a desperate need for our area to be invested in, and there never seems to be any money for it.
I tell you what. I mean, I haven't been down to this state for a couple of years. In the new year, are you prepared to take me for a walk around the estate to see what the problems are?
Yeah, we would love to.
Yeah, if you put your details in the chat or whatever, we'll do that, because I don't want to second guess what can be done or can't be done without seeing it myself. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you.
No problem, mate.
Thank you.
I just wanted to double check if Councillor Houston, as the cabinet member for Homes and Regeneration, if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, the project itself, as Barry said, is the pathway for the project was set many decades ago, and we work very closely with the two ward councillors to try and make, and I can tell you they do press for as much to go into the local community and give me a hard time over it, as any councillors on the council would, because they're both very forceful that way, and rightly so on behalf of residents, because you're the people that have to put up with being on the boundary of all this that's happening, and it's not as if you don't ask for it. It's now on your doorstep. So, I mean, I know I know Alan will be aware of the local issues. So if Barry goes down there, I'm happy to come along as well to that meeting with the ward councillors and look at what we can do in terms of some of those local improvements. But certainly, we are slightly constrained by the framework that we have largely constrained by the framework that we've inherited, as well as some of the financial challenges that all local authorities are facing at the moment.
Thank you. I think Councillor Schneiderman, as a local member, would like to...
Hello, Chris. It's good to see you. Good to see you all there, Louisa and Federico, Maureen. It was good to see some of you earlier at the fly tipping pop up, because that's one of the things Cricklewood and the Golders Green Estate particularly has been identified as one of those areas for extra action on fly tipping. I know we're in a lot of correspondence, and you're speaking to officers backwards and forwards regarding the pavements. So there are areas there that have been identified that need to be rectified, but totally, and Mark, you're totally right to be pushing for as much as possible to be spent, there, and that that's what resident association for. But that we have looked at the pavements there, so there will be work happening there. The trees that are missing are going to be replaced, and just happy to continue to meet you regularly, and come down with Barry and Ross in the new year, and we'll all have a look around and hopefully see some of the things that have improved. But good to show Barry and Ross all the issues on the ground.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll move to our next question, which is from Paula B. Groves.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, thank you so much for this opportunity to speak with you. I'm actually going to read something because I've got ADHD and I get a bit nervous. So I support Barnet through the Cultural Action Group and bring experience as an award-winning artist. For 6 years, I've developed a climate change project, and it's developed into a climate change methodology called Me Infinity. For 2.5 years, I've developed the software with AI to enable a fast rollout designed to grow creative confidence, learning and well-being. And I'd love to begin to work initially with Barnet residents. So I wondered, how is the council integrating emerging AI tools across community learning, culture and well-being? And would you welcome an independently funded artist in residence to show the value this unlocks for the borough?
I think that sounds quite an exciting idea.
I think the answer is yes.
Yes, I do. No problem.
We are doing a lot on sustainability, Paula, but we're happy to for you to get in touch and then to discuss and hear more about your proposal.
Oh, that'd be fabulous. So who would I want to liaise with for this?
I think someone will put something in the chat. I think we're trying to make sure that people don't put their personal details, but someone will put their details in the chat who you can email, and then we'll link up that way.
Thank you. Would that be someone in this panel or someone separate from this?
I think in general, if you use Barnet questiontime@barnet.gov.uk, and we will direct your contact details to the right person. We are about to start a year-long arts festival following the a cultural impact award from the GLA.
Yeah, I'm on the advisory panel for that.
So
yes.
you'll know that there's a lot of work around art and culture, and as Councillor Schneiderman has said, a lot of work about sustainability. And
I also think it's interesting to see how AI can be a positive thing rather than something that takes people's jobs. So I think it's it'd be very interesting to find out more.
I've been developing this as a global project, but I need to test it with, I want to scale and work with 10 people, then 100, then 1,000, and then roll it out. And so I'd sooner do that on my home turf. Yeah. I'm based in East Barnet, so I can work with 10 people in East Barnet and then roll it. And I would like the whole borough potentially to be on board. I've got methodologies for doing that.
Okay. Well, we'll try and find 10 East Barnet guinea pigs for you, yeah?
I would volunteer to be an East Barnet guinea pig as your local councillor.
I'd love to work with someone off this panel directly, but I've been in touch with Sir David Attenborough, and I want to update him. It's his 100th birthday next year, and I'd love for Barnet to be put on the map. That we're pioneering with AI and making amazing things happen. So thank you.
Can I just ask you, Paula, are you just looking to work with adults or with young people, or is there an age range?
I want to go across generations. To be honest, I'm working with a woman, a really close friend of mine called Penny Hopkinson, who does operations manuals, and so how she deals with it is how you can glean information from all generations. So this is something that can go across generations, across cultures. I've literally spent 6 years. I've been in lockdown for 6 years working on this in extreme monk mode, and I'm working with the advisory group on that grant thing. But this is something that could potentially go way faster.
Thanks, Paula.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to go to Matt M now, please.
Yes, good evening all. Thank you for taking my question. Try to be quick. Could Barnet Council investigate if a mistake has been made with loss of public parkland at the former Graham Park open space Haybourne Park, where the Clayton Field Park entrance used to give good access to Douglas Bader and Graham Park estate residents living at this part of the estate? The park entrance and some of the park footpath were hoarded off as part of the Plot A NHG regeneration building works, and seem to have been taken away permanently without there being plans for a proper park entrance access replacement at this side of the park. Does Barnet Council support the renaming of a big part of Graham Park estate into Haybourne Park developments? Is this not contrary to other initiatives by Barnet councils, including the Art and Heritage Light and Flight initiative, referring to Barnet's and Graham Park's aviation history, as Graham Park, which was built on the former Hendon Aerodrome ground, is befittingly named after Claude Graham White, the aviation pioneer who in 1911 bought 220 acres of pasture at Hendon, which he turned into London's first aerodrome. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think your question relates partly to whether any parkland is planned to be permanently taken away, but also the redevelopment of the Graham Park estate and Haybourne Park. So I wondered if Councillor Houston, Councillor Schneiderman would like to comment. And possibly Councillor Conway as a ward councillor.
I think the general specifics of what you're saying, I'm not aware of the detail of, so I'd have to get back to you on that. But in terms of the actual heritage of the area, that's something we do want to celebrate in the names that we use, and I think it's something we're very proud of. So you're very right to identify that. We shouldn't be. I mean, I think the details of that particular entrance and what is happening there. Again, I think Councillor Rawlings said in the previous question, offered to come and visit. I'm quite happy to come and have a look at what's happening, if that's because actually it's better to see on the ground what you're talking about rather than make a comment about something which I've not seen firsthand.
Yeah, and also it can't be helped, but I was throwing me age now. I first became a councillor in 1998, and one of the first meetings I went to was discussing the regeneration of Graham Park. It's been talked about for a long time, but a lot of the agreements go back 10, 15 years. So we'd have to have a look at that. But there should be open spaces, and if you have an open space, there should be public access and the right way to do it. Now, whether this is temporary until the building work's finished or it was down as permanent, we'd have to investigate and come back to you, mate. I don't want to give you the wrong answer, so we don't know everything about that.
I would appreciate, and if we meet up, I could show you the situation. And how about the renaming of a big part of the Graham Park estate into Hendon Aerodrome, into Hayborn Park developments? What is your take on that? Does Barnet Council approve of this?
Well, normally renaming happens after a consultation, happens. So I think we need to, I think without giving a knee-jerk reaction, I think I need to know what was the background to that. And what is being renamed, because both names are out there. I mean, Graham Park and Hayborn are established names for. So yeah, let's follow up and let's have a site meeting and as the local councillors and talk through the issues. Yeah.
Thank you. So we'll follow that up. I'd like to now go to Ian Wood, please, for your question.
Hello, everyone. It's a follow-up on June. I believe it was Councillor Schneiderman. I asked a question about Lime bikes and a recovery system because there was a lot of abandonment. I was asked to keep an eye on Barnet first. I haven't seen anything, so just like an update on where we are with Lime and Lime bike abandonments, etc.
Good point. They're everywhere.
Yeah, it's a good point, Ian. And unfortunately, we haven't got as far with Lime as we would want to. I mean, I met them probably around the time you last asked a question, but officers have met them in between. They do have an address whereby you can report them and they will remove them. We're pushing them. I want them to agree to take them away faster and to see what tougher action we can take if they don't do that. So unfortunately, we haven't forgotten about this. We are meeting with them regularly, but we haven't quite got there yet. But we're continuing to pursue that. So we want an agreement that they will come and swiftly remove them, or we need to look at what enforcement the council can take if they don't do that. So we keep an eye on Barnet first, Ian, but it will take a little bit longer.
Have you spoken to any of your colleagues? I was just going to say, have you spoken with any of your colleagues in the other boroughs to see how they're handling it?
Yeah. Now, I was at a meeting last week with the people who do my role from across London. So, there are a variety of approaches that other boroughs are trying and that TfL are trying. So we are talking to all of them. So hopefully we'll have some more positive news in the not too distant future. Yeah.
Thank you. I think Councillor Conway would like to come in.
Yeah, so it's not my area at all, but there was something in one of the Friends of Parks groups today from Burnt Oak, actually. I don't know why Matt might have his hand up. Which apparently there's an agreement between Lime Bikes and the Environment Agency now for the bikes that are ending up in streams and things like that around the borough. We can certainly send that on. I saw it literally a couple of hours ago. And that sounds like a bit of an improvement, because I know for the Friends of Parks groups, that's really irritating that they keep pulling them out and then there's no one to collect them and everything.
Yeah, that'd be great. Perfect. Thank you. And I'll keep my eye on Barnet first. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you. We'll now go to Caroline Green, please.
Oh, hi, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
I'm really sorry. For some reason, my camera won't switch on now, so I apologise for that. You're not missing much, though. This is my first time I've been able to talk to you guys, and I appreciate the time you've given. I'd love to have more meetings like this. I think they're very good for residents. So I've got two fairly quick questions. The first one, and I won't go too much into my case, but I live in a road where there is a very steep bend. And before I moved here, it was a massive problem in the area, very, very dangerous. Cars driving 40, 50 miles an hour. Lots of houses, walls and fences damaged. And there's dog walkers walking on the street and children. And it's become very dangerous. And then they put some other interventions in, which actually was a complete waste of money. They didn't put it anywhere near the area it was meant to be. And about 7 weeks ago, there was a massive accident into my house where somebody drove 60 miles an hour, or God knows what, on a Saturday morning. And the next day, as I was talking to a neighbour, because people were fuming about it, we saw another car 24 hours later go into 2 brick walls. I contacted the council, and somebody from Highways, I don't know if I should mention his name, but he came down with somebody else from the council. There were about 16 people in the street, absolutely fuming, because one of the second accident, a 90-year-old man was cleaning his front garden, and 2 minutes after he left, this car hit the wall, and that man would have died. This is now really serious. They have not got back to us. They said they could put some emergency measures in. They have done nothing. I've emailed, I've called, and I've got nowhere. And I'm sorry, councillors, this is not acceptable. Somebody's going to die. This is very serious. And there's a huge anger in the area about this. It's very, very dangerous. It's basically a drive. It's where the road is on Manor Drive from Barnet Road, and it goes down.
Yeah.
I could have guessed which one it was, Caroline, because I drive through it regular.
I saw the car on the wall as well.
Yeah.
Thank you, Caroline. I think Councillor Schneiderman will respond.
Okay.
Oh, hi. Thank you, Caroline. Really sorry to hear about what happened. I mean, I was going to ask you actually which road. I think we know what road it is now. We can get back to you and get the officers out to make sure the right thing is done to make that area safer. I mean, it's good. So obviously what's been tried before, hasn't been fully successful. So we definitely need to get the officers to have another look at it and see what other solutions there are that make that area safer, Caroline.
I think
if you just drop us a line on the Barnet question time, I think we'll be able to get back to you.
I think, Caroline, your ward councillors have been dealing with it. So I think Ezra is definitely on the case of it, because I often get copied into the emails because it adjoins our ward. So like York Way is in my ward, but your road is just outside my ward. So I know they've been on to officers to do it, but I know that also that when there's accidents, and if we normally have to find out from the police what the cause of the accident was to try and figure out what we do to make sure that it's harder for that same sort of thing to happen again. Because I know that when you go to the end of your road and then turn right and then go past the Tesco, I know there's been like a couple of cars that have overturned on the roundabout there. And often it's either stolen or, cars that are just not, I mean, now your road is now 20 miles an hour with the speed bumps in. And still, people don't take any notice of it. But that bend is really bad.
Can I respond? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Okay, so a gentleman called Igor came from Highways.
Igor.
Yeah. And basically nothing's happened. People have emailed. I can tell you, I've lived here for 2 years. I can tell you people have lived here for longer. What actually, it's very simple what needs to happen. There needs to be proper speed bumps. A speed bump was put at the top of the road, right near Barnet, miles away, not miles, but yards away from the bend. It's not even a proper speed bump. And then you put these they're not proper speed bumps. There should have been 3 speed bumps going all the way around. And it's very simple. We live here. We see it day in, day out. We don't need an expert. And no disrespect, the money that you've spent on that, and it's actually made it worse. And we're not willing to wait much longer. This has been now this happened on October the 4th. So we're getting on for 2 months now. No response, nothing. It's not good enough, councillors. I'm sorry. If someone dies, there's going to be a lot of suing and people are going to get into big trouble. I'm not threatening, but
Thank you, Caroline. I think Councillor Warren would like to respond.
You're right, it's not good enough. If Highways went down and said they need emergency measures, you'd expect emergency measures to be done within a couple of weeks, not your argument. So we would have to trace it up. It has always been a difficult road. I remember talking to someone whose wall had cars crash into it 3 or 4 times just on the corner there over the years. Have been down there, have done a walk around. They put in quite a few measures, but obviously what you can't do is create a measure for bad driving. If somebody's going to put their foot down to 50 or 60 miles an hour over little speed cushions, they are going to crash. So it's how you cope with bad driving. Let us trace that up. We can put details in. Yeah, if you give Caroline details, so we can trace it up tomorrow.
Yeah,
we'll trace it up tomorrow, Caroline. I don't want to give you an answer and it comes out not to be true. Let us trace it up and get in touch with you. Yeah.
I really appreciate that, and I'm happy if you want to, I'm happy to make you a coffee and just show you, because when you're here and you see it, and you're right, you can't stop crazy drivers. But what you've put in, it's making it worse because they're clipping their wheel.
Yeah, we do know the road and so on, but but you've convinced me with a coffee. So
there we go.
Well, Councillor, you can have 2 coffees, and I make very good coffee.
Oh, two coffees, I'll do the speed bump myself.
And a biscuit.
All done push it.
And the other very quick question, I would like to have a detailed, I don't know what you call it, of exactly where my council gets paid, because I've got no idea what I'm paying for, and I would like to know exactly where every bit of my monthly payment or yearly payment goes. And I have asked that, and I've got no. And I asked that when I lived in Enfield, and they didn't do it, and I'm now not accepting that. I've got every right to know where my money is going.
I think Councillor Rawlings.
When the council tax bills go out, it should contain all that information. How much is spent on all the different services and where the money comes from. Because some is council tax, some is business rates and stuff. So that information will be on the on the bill.
Yeah, it's usually shown like a round diagram, isn't it, when your council tax demand goes out.
Yeah, not in detail, I'm afraid. Sorry to say, it's not details. It's not in detail. So I will pursue that. But I really appreciate that you're going to look at this road, because no joke, someone is going to die. God forbid, but they will. Okay.
Thanks for raising that, Caroline. May I suggest that to Barnet question time at barnet.gov.uk, if there's more specifics about the breakdown of how people's council tax is spent, then we can look to include a specific content in the annual council tax leaflet, because at the moment it breaks it down by things like adult social care, children's social care, housing and so on. But if you have specific thoughts about what you think is missing, please put that in the Barnet question time at barnet.gov.uk email, and our communications team who put the leaflet together can look into that. Now, Matt, I can see you have your hand raised again, but what I'm going to do at this point is just ask Tristan, our moderator, to read out any questions from the chat for Cabinet members to answer.
Sure, thank you. So we've got a couple of questions. First question, which is from Donna, and it's for you, Councillor Schneiderman. And Donna asks, why are the elderly and infirm penalised because they cannot use the free bulky waste collection points? They therefore have to pay for bulky items to be collected.
Oh, I presume, Donna, you mean skips. Yeah. So we do recognise that not everybody gets a Summers Lane recycling centre. So we do have skips that are placed in various locations all around the borough on a regular basis, but obviously that may still be a bit too far away from you. But so there is the bulky waste collection, as you referenced, but as I also mentioned earlier, if it's large electrical items, there is a service where those can be collected from your door free of charge. If you look on the website under reuse and recycle electrical items, we can probably put the link in, that those items, fridges, freezers, all that sort of big stuff, can be collected free of charge. And there's other information there regarding furniture, where equally could be collected by British Heart Foundation, etc. So there are other options other than the bulky waste collection service.
Thank you. Tristan, any questions?
Yeah, so next question is for Councillor Coakley-Webb, and it comes from Jade Kozlowski, who asks, given that Whittington Health has been in place in Barnet as a commission provider for special needs children's therapy services for the last 3 years, during this time they have failed to recruit enough staff to cope with the contract. When are Barnet finally going to ensure that SEND children within the borough will be adequately supported?
Thanks for the question. I can't see, only you're on the chat, it's not on the name on the screen, is it? No.
So no, Jade Kozlowski.
Hi, Jade. At the minute, I mean, I know that there's been an overwhelming problem for years, probably, of actually getting enough therapists to make sure that there's enough that are needed to fulfil the requirement for the young people that need the therapist. So it's not a question of if that state's saying in HCP that you need this, this or that. The problem then seems to be at the other end in actually recruiting enough therapists to make sure that we've got enough people at the health end of things to be able to provide the service. So it's not that we never want to, it's just trying to make sure that at the other end of the spectrum where we service this service from, to make sure that they have enough people in place to actually provide those services. So it's it's a problem that we still try and deal with day on day, but it's something, it's not the people that we employ, it's the people that they employ to provide the therapies.
Thank you. Tristan.
Thank you. One more question, and I'll put this to you, Councillor Rawlings, which comes from Jenica Cesar. And the question is Barnet Council equipped to deal and defend against cyber attacks of the kind the Royal Borough of Kensington and Chelsea had recently, effectively and efficiently? Is the IT in-house or is it outsourced to a third party to prevent a freeze or close down of the services? So yeah, question outside the security.
Obviously, it's something we do take very seriously. Hackney got a cyber attack a few years ago and are still suffering from it. So we know how seriously we take these things. At the moment, it is out with a specialist group, our cyber security. It is very difficult. If you take London with 33 different councils, for each one to have a separate cyber security, I'm not sure if the expertise is there. So we are looking at cyber security, whether we should bring some of it in-house, whether we should join with other councils and so on. It's an increasing danger simply because what it used to be was, I don't know, like hackers or whatever, people will try and get in, and we get hundreds a year of attempted attacks on cyber security. But now that they are like using AI and bots, they can almost automatically send in attacks, and local government is often under attack simply because of the information we hold. At the moment, our firewalls have worked and have been serious, but we're not going to be complacent about it. We are looking at new contracts. I think we're starting looking in the beginning of the new year, aren't we? Yeah. So we are talking to all other councils to find out what works and what doesn't work. So yes, we're taking it seriously. At the moment, it's outsourced with specialists because we haven't got the specialists in-house. We are deciding whether to look at the specialism or join with other councils or other providers to ensure that the information is as secure as we can make it. You know, it is near the top of our agenda, always has been.
Thank you. I'd like to go to Graja Sal for your question, please.
Hello, can you see me?
Yes.
It's actually, but it's Salim Sabri. It's just a strange email address that I'm using.
Oh, apologies. I just have to read out what I can see on the screen.
Oh, yes.
Well, I've got to go with. Apologies.
not it's my fault. I didn't type in the proper name. Anyway, I represent the West Finchley Residents Association. There's my lovely logo behind me. You can see, and Councillor Ross Houston is one of our ward councillors, and he probably got an inkling of what I'm going to ask about. Subsidence on Nether Street behind 2 Courthouse Gardens, and it's I think it was first raised around September 2023. We've had I've spoken to Councillor Houston several times. I've been up to his, the Arts Depot surgeries. I probably raised it last time at this forum, and there's so many false dawns, but I think the residents just have no idea what's been going on for 2 years, and really we just wanted in his statement whether it's going to be even another 2 years, which wouldn't say much about how it's going on, but what is happening and when are we likely to see it resolved and the footpath restored. You've recently put in the scheme for the school street scheme, for safety of the children, but this, and as well as there's some crash barriers nearby, fencing that was being damaged by a car, that they can be unsafe for years. So when are they going to be addressed, please?
Yeah, no, thanks, Liam. I think it's an embarrassingly long time it's taken. You did raise it last time. I referred to the chief exec who was there at the time and said, I mean, as Barry will and others will confirm, this is probably the most exasperating issue I've dealt with as a ward councillor in all my time as a ward councillor. It is partly, as I understand it, with the delay that currently is with insurers, because quite rightly it's going to cost a lot of money, and quite rightly we are trying to avoid you and other residents paying for that through our council tax. So the delay at the moment seems to be insurers, but I have got an assurance from the director, and I've raised it with the chief executive, I've raised it with the director of the service, and that actually we're definitely going to pursue a plan B if we cannot get a resolution that way. I think it's right to try and make sure that we, as you know, this was I don't want to get into the detail because it involves other residents, but this was an issue that was not caused by the council. So we are trying to get redress without costing the council taxpayers money. And as I said, the officers have confirmed that it is, with the delay seems to be down to insurance at the moment. But I have the director's assurance that something will happen. But I can only apologise because I am as exasperated, probably not as exasperated as you, because I know you walk past it every day. I walk past it every week, and it's really, it needs to be sorted. And I hope this will be the last time you will ask me this question at one of these sessions. But yeah, well, thanks for raising it, and thanks for all the work that you and the Residents Association do, because you're an excellent resident association, and you've got the first ever neighbourhood plan in Barnet was put in place by the Residents Association. But yeah, it is, and I do think we have to learn lessons about the responsiveness of elements of the council, and I'm afraid that does include the traffic and roads. We need to be more proactive in relation to how we respond to these things.
Thank you.
So if you could follow up with that would be appreciated.
Yeah.
We're all exasperated by it.
Thank you. Tristan is going to just pick up a question from the chat.
Yeah, so we have a highways question for Councillor Schneiderman, and this comes from Javida. And the question is, Barnet has spent a lot of money redoing the road in N14. The road isn't named, but a road in N14, which was closed for 9 months. I'm really sad to let you know that a part near the square is going down. Our houses are shaking. Does anyone have a solution?
Oh, well, I'm extremely upset to hear about that, because yeah, the council has spent a lot of money on that road, which is something that's not done on a lot of roads, which is a total reconstruction. So a lot of the normal works on roads is skimming off the top layer and replacing it. That road is actually being rebuilt from quite a level down. That involved lots of the utilities being moved and repaired at the same time. So I'm really disappointed to hear about that, and I'll get the officers tomorrow to go along there and have a look exactly what's happened.
Thank you. There are no hands raised at the moment, and we are getting close to our finish time of 8:30. So if there are other questions relating to Barnet, the place and the borough that you'd like to put to councils, there is an opportunity to raise your hands. But also we do have a further question. We do have a further question from Matt posted in the chat about maintenance along riverbanks. Wonder, Tristan, if you can read that out.
Yeah,
and then
sorry.
I'll go to Anuta.
Bear with me. Sorry. So this is a question for Matt M. So again, Councillor Schneiderman. The question is, why do Barnet grounds maintenance workers not clear litter from riverbanks?
They do. I mean, it depends exactly where the litter is. So there are some areas that need specialist contractors to deal with it, depending on the location. So if you do let us know the location, we can make sure that's checked. But we do clear the litter. But yeah, depending on the area, it might need a specialist contractor to go in and do it.
Matt has also posted a couple of other questions about clearing, namely, do people, the staff who do the clearing, do they receive relevant health and safety training? Which
yes, I mean yeah. I mean, we take health and safety very seriously. So all staff are trained in whatever role they're doing to make sure that they can carry it out safely for themselves and and for members of the public who are around those areas.
Thank you. There's a
and there was just one more question as well, just sort of associated with this. So does Barnet Council hire contractors to do vegetation maintenance works along the various streams, brooks and ponds in Barnet without including the clearing of litter as part of the contracts, with the idea that the clearing of litter can be done by volunteer groups?
Sorry, I just wanted to comment there, Matt. Thanks for the question. I know we've got a meeting later this week with some of the Friends of the Park group and relevant officers from Green Spaces, also from Street Scene and also from Community Safety, so that we can look at the particular issue in a particular area that you're talking about, simply with the ward councillors as well. But I will also link in with Councillor Schneider.
Thank you. Did you want to come back?
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are going to go to Anuta Zach, and as it is 22 minutes past 8, this will be the last question.
Thank you. Question for Councillor Schneiderman, I think. The A5. There's 2 junctions in Edgware that give no pedestrian priority that Barnet are responsible for. They've been identified to be improved for many years. And when can we hope? Because the answer we got was not enough people had died.
I don't think anybody's ever had that answer, but really.
Yeah, I don't think that's the answer. We certainly don't give that answer, because that's certainly not the approach. We just agreed a couple of weeks ago what we call the LIT programme, which is the road safety, road junction improvements for the coming year. And certainly I know that the A5 is part of that programme, but I would need to check exactly what junctions are covered, and then we can get back to you, Nita. But certainly the A5 is part of that. There's a whole programme of various road safety improvements across the borough, some smaller and some bigger. But yeah, as I say, the A5 is part of that.
Yeah, I mean, the Whitchurch was identified in the SPD to be improved. Camrose, which they're on the Harrow side, Barnet is responsible for that road. And they're both very dangerous junctions with no pedestrian priority.
Yeah, I mean, there are other areas like that we have been working on. I mean, they're quite complicated schemes, often involves TfL and new signals and everything. So it can take some time, but happy to you know, get you an update on that particular junction. But yeah, we are there's a range of similar areas like that you know that we are working on.
But it's an active travel that you're really pushing for theoretically.
Yeah, no, exactly, Anita. That's why we are doing this work. But there are, as I say, it is just, you know, complex and quite expensive. So there is a sort of, you know, we've got a prioritisation of this work going forward. So I'll say we've just agreed the programme for the next financial year.
But you don't know if they're on there.
I couldn't probably find it quickly enough, but I happily will check and get back to you, Anita.
Thank you, because yeah, I did email and ask for a meeting.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Rawlins, anything you would like to say in closing?
No, it's just to thank people for, and we've had quite a few questions. We think this is an important way of listening to residents. We can see from the chat that we're not necessarily popular with everyone, but that doesn't matter. You know, you have a right to say things as long as they're not insulting or rude. Thank you for joining. Season's greetings for those that are celebrating. We've got a lot of things to follow up and some meetings and to be in touch with people, and we will get that done. But I hope you appreciate that we do spend the time to listen to you, and hopefully you've gained something from tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is our last Barnet question time of the year. And we're always interested to hear how we can improve the events. So please please email any ideas to barnetquestiontime@barnet.gov.uk. Apologies to anyone whose question was not answered during the session. But if you use that email, we will check on the chat and provide a response. And you can also email questions directly through the email address I just read out and is in the chat. To let you know that the recording of the event will be posted on our website once subtitles have been added on, and the web link will also be put, in fact, it's there. I think, no, that's not it. Sorry, I'm misrepresenting. There will be a website link in the chat, and it will also be made available through the Barnet First e-newsletter. So that's not the same as the email address that I just spotted in the chat. So apologies for that one. But you will get a link to where it will be posted on the website in the chat. And therefore, without further ado, season's greetings and good night from Barnet Cabinet.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.